Hello friends, I'm David Bose. Today is September 5th, 2016. It's great to see everybody today. Well, you've probably seen somewhere on YouTube by now this notion that the Obama administration is going to impose martial law, cancel the election, and stay in office for a third term. So let's ask ourselves, is this actually possible? As you can see on your screen, that is a web page called IntelliHub News and Politics, and here's what it says. Operation Summer of Chaos exposed. Obama administration, Soros, Black Lives Matter, plan to activate martial law before the general election is revealed. I want you to see what people are saying. I want you to see some things that are actual facts. And then I want to put this together for you to help you understand. Now, what this particular news article, this web page is saying isn't necessarily what they're planning, but they're doing something. Now let's put the facts together and let's lay it down so that we can understand what it is that they're doing. Let's go at this rationally. All right, and some people certainly know or believe that they don't like Donald Trump. So wow, man, this would be a great way for them to stop Donald Trump from becoming president. But let's just look at some of the facts. 10,000 bought and paid for Black Lives Matter dissidents to create chaos at the Philadelphia Democratic National Convention in late July. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but this particular person somehow calls Verizon, is able to convince them that he is somebody that's able to get into this account. They basically hack his account, and they're able to find or get access to his texts. And this is what the texts say. I wanted to touch base with you about the summer of chaos. So far, we have 2,000 people being bussed in from different cities and another 6,000 to 8,000 expected to drive into Cleveland for the convention. They will not be ready for the type of crowds we are bringing in, and they will blame Trump for it, especially if we shut it down. The GOP will have to replace him at that point. I will pass the info along. Good work, Sam. You never let us down. If so important, we stop Trump. He will destroy everything we have worked so hard for, and we can't trust Hillary. So then this article goes on to explain and expose how they are planning sporadic, isolated riots and civil disturbances. I did a video myself, friends, just a few days ago about how they were bringing in National Guard, all kinds of military up in that area around Michigan, at the same time that they're causing riots in the streets in Milwaukee. We've seen this time and time again. There's all of these, they're always having these drills. All of this is planned, clear back with Sandy Hook, the Boston bombing, all the events that we've seen go on has been planned by our government. Now, in the early days, we wondered, probably a lot of us, how is the government doing this? This is insane. This is some kind of a conspiracy, insanity. It can't be possible. Surely the government couldn't do this. How would the government do this? Well, now we find out all the basic details of how they're doing it. Elite billionaires who probably aren't spending their own money, and most of this money is coming from who knows where. But, it may just be coming from the billions that Soros has, or maybe Soros is somehow being funneled money through his, to make it look like he's doing it. But they're kind of all together. Him and some other billionaires are doing this. It couldn't just be this one man. He's not doing it alone, or they would have, shut him down. But George Soros, which is backing these Black Lives Matter, paying these people, it's kind of like ISIS. Only the Black Lives Matter is more or less the ISIS for America. They go into certain communities and we call it riot, But what's actually happening is they're burning buildings down and murdering people. This is very similar to what ISIS is doing over in the Middle East when they're going in and burning people down and, you know, destroying cities. On a slightly smaller scale, they're doing it here in America, friends. So these are the facts. This is what they're doing. The far liberal side has no limit as to what they will do. I mean, if they're willing to create, and we know that Obama and Hillary Clinton is behind the ISIS. They created it. It all had to do with Benghazi. That's why they brought Libya down. They funneled weapons and military hardware, military personnel, all through Libya and then into Syria. Now, there were some certain people that were in Libya at the time who had to be taken out because they knew too much, and there had to be a sort of a diversion, and this is what the email accounts being lost is all about. There's all this stuff that they had to talk about between each other through their phones, and they had to get rid of all that because it would expose what they were doing. This is all together. The Fast and Furious funneling weapons to Mexico, it's kind of the same thing as the Benghazi thing, which is it's very similar. You know, instead of funneling guns to Mexico, they were funneling guns, weapons, and ammunition and military tech to Syria through Libya. So Soros then is in cahoots with Obama and Hillary Clinton. Remember that Obama was involved with Acorn, another one of these little groups financed by people like George Soros. So in a sense, George Soros is financing a lot of things. And I'm sure it's not just George Soros. Again, friends, it's the high-up official elite bankers. George Soros is one of the front guys, putting up a lot of his billions, but he's just one of many. This is more or less just what we're being told, you know, what we found out. So we have found out that George Soros is doing all of this. You know, I'm going to accept that for what it is. I just know that there are certainly far more people and players involved with this. We know for a fact that Kissinger is involved with this because Kissinger is involved with Hillary Clinton. Kissinger is a front man for the banking elite. If Kissinger and Hillary is involved in this and Obama is involved in this, then the entire Democratic Party is involved with this. But, friends, it doesn't stop there. George W. Bush is involved with this. They're not even backing Trump. George W. Bush, Jeb Bush, and a lot of these old diehard Beltway Republicans have gone over to Clinton's side. You see, they were all together. They've always been together. But there's another thing going on with Trump, and they don't like it. Now, I said in another video, what are they going to do? Well, they're not worried about Trump because they control the polls and they control the elections. They stole the election from Bernie Sanders and guarantee they can steal the election from Donald Trump. They're not worried about it. But they are worried about something, friends. They're worried about what happens when they steal the election from Trump and rioting breaks out in the street. Psych. No, they're not worried about that because, you see, they want for there to be riots to break out in the streets. They're pushing for this. They've been trying to get these riots going for a long time. With the riots comes martial law and then crackdown. So you see, they're just going to steal the election. They're going to take it away from Trump. And they're going to give it to Hillary. And then martial law is going to ensue. Now, if that happens, then obviously there's not going to be a third term of Obama. Or is there? You see, Obama is going to have a third term, yes, but it's going to be in the form of Hillary Clinton. Unless, friends, now this is plan B, I believe, unless they cannot steal the election from Trump, because remember, Trump has a lot of connections. He's also a billionaire. I don't think everybody in the world is all on one side. There are some people in this country that sees what's happening and are trying it with their last little breath. They finally waking up and saying, look, even if this means my downfall politically, financially, and perhaps risking my life, I am going to put my weight on the side of Trump. We've got one shot. I'm going to try to help Donald Trump to get in there. I've always said, friends, that You know, there's good and there's bad, and there are certainly good people out there right now working for you and I to try and save the Union. And those people, up to now, haven't really been speaking out, because 20 years ago they didn't really know what was going on. It was too confusing. The internet and YouTube has exposed a lot of this stuff. People are beginning to understand what's really going on. It's all being exposed, and now we're just running out the clock. See, have we woken up in time? Well, I believe we have, friends, but it's not going to go down easy. There are going to be a few individuals who are going to try to bring this country out of it just at the last minute. Remember, this has happened before. Everything that's ever happened in this country has been by divine destiny. Now, that means that they won't be able to steal the election, because more than 70% of the entire country is going to stand up and say, absolutely not, we're voting for Donald Trump. Now, look, we're speculating. We don't know what's going to happen. If somehow they succeed in stealing the election, it'll go as planned. They'll put Hillary Clinton in. Riots will erupt just as they want. They'll declare martial law in the streets over and over and over again. And the reason that they're not going to have martial law all of the time. They're just going to have us under a police state so they can completely control us, and we'll have a one world government. But what I'm saying is, if they can't get Hillary in as president, and Donald Trump somehow or another is able to, through a few good people put into place, check and balances, is able to stop them from stealing the election, because there's so much overwhelming support. We got people like Newt Gingrich that are supposedly on his side. We have to hope and pray and believe in our heart that these people are really acting out of a good heart, friends. And if so, they won't be able to steal the election. So plan B for them might be to either assassinate Donald Trump, and I've done a video on that, or, yes, you guessed it, a third term for Obama. So yes, this scenario of a third term for Obama could actually play out. And so with that said, I'm going to show you guys a few clips, and I hope you guys have a great day, and let's just get out there and get this message out, friends. We got to save our union. For truth will keep marching on. You guys have a great day.
Go right ahead. What's your name?
My name is Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
I realize that the news is telling us that Hillary's ahead, okay? But if you noticed, when Trump goes to his thing, he's got crowds of people. My concern is, and let me finish what I have to say before you can answer it, okay? If Hillary Clinton wins the election, wait, you're gonna hear what I have to say. If she wins it, and she's on that Second Amendment, taking your guns away, there is going to be a civil war in this state or in any of the United States. But if President Trump would win, there's also going to be a war, because Obama is going to pull that martial law on the United States, because we see it coming in to America now. The UN is here. Please tell me
UN is here.
this is not going to happen to our people in this country.
Could Obama use a natural disaster to claim a third term as president? Recently, there has been a lot of talk about an imminent disaster that could happen. 2 months ago, it was Yellowstone. And just after that, everybody was worried about Mount St. Helens. And then the big news was the epic hurricane season that we would see this summer. And now, all the attention is focused on the Cascadia subduction zone and the threat of a 9.0 earthquake that could affect millions of people along the West Coast. It's as though the government is cluing us in that a huge natural disaster is going to happen at any moment, and it could be anything, and we should be prepared. Why are they doing this? Obama and FEMA officials have spoken out now on several occasions. People need to be ready for a cataclysm, that they should have stored food, water, and other supplies and have an escape route.
I mean, they're going to steal the election. He's 7 to 10 points ahead. I will not put up with this crap. The government is illegitimate at the moment. And I'm going to tell the police and military something. Now, I've never gotten into this fetish with military coups. I'm going to tell you something right now. Thank you, Nico. Are we going to let them steal the election while they promote going and shooting cops in the back? I mean, I always say I want to fix stuff peaceably, and I'm not planning anything offensively myself because I'm much more effective informationally. But at a certain point, you got to quit putting up with the crap. I mean, this is getting ridiculous.
I think the Republican nominee is unfit to serve as president. I said so last week, and he keeps on proving it.
And a couple of weeks ago, you told Matt Lauer that Donald Trump would not win the presidency.
Let me be honest with you. I do not understand this. I am in my second term. It has been an extraordinary privilege for me to serve as the President of the United States. I cannot imagine a greater honor or a more interesting job. I love my work. But under our Constitution, I cannot run again. I can't run again.
Repeatedly now, Donald Trump has said that this election will be rigged against him, challenging really the core foundation of our democratic system. Can you promise the American people that this election will be conducted in a fair way? And are you worried that comments like his could erode the public's faith in the outcome of the election? And if he does win, given that you've just declared him unfit, what will you say to the American people?
Well, first of all, let me thank President Hennessy for the introduction and the entire Stanford family for letting us take over the campus for a few days. As some of you know, John is stepping down after 16 years as president of Stanford. Fortunately for me, I cannot do that to just stick around longer than my term limit. John, I'm sure there's some people who want you to stick around longer, but I'm confident that you're going to do extraordinary things, and we could not be prouder of John Hennessy and Stanford and all the great work that they have done. So please give him a big round of applause.
Mr. Trump, just a few minutes ago, President Obama at the Asian Leaders Summit in California at a press conference, he had something to say about you I want to read, and I don't think you're going to be on his Christmas card list this year.
I don't mind. I've already
let me read you what President Obama said.
It's actually a great compliment.
You said recently that you thought that there might not actually be elections in 2016 because of widespread anarchy. Do you really believe that?
Well, I hope that that's not going to be the case, but certainly there is the potential, because you have to recognize that we have a rapidly increasing national debt, a very unstable financial foundation, and you have all of these things going on like the ISIS crisis that could very rapidly change things that are going on in our nation. And unless we begin to deal with these things in a comprehensive way and in a logical way, there is no telling what could happen.
Everywhere I look, there are reminders that I only hold this job temporarily. But it's a long time between now and 2016, and anything can happen.
Get ready, because chaos will erupt no matter who wins the election. That is the latest article from Mike Adams out of naturalnews.com. He is reporting that America will be a tinderbox, ready to explode no matter who wins. He writes here that what follows is an educated analysis of the political friction now escalating in America. They write, if Donald Trump wins, the radical extreme leftists go on a violent rampage that leads to the rest of us begging for martial law. He says after half a dozen cities burn with riots and looting, Trump invokes a national emergency, deploying National Guard troops across the most devastated urban areas. And the radical left finds itself in a shooting war with the government. They write, Adams continues, if Hillary Clinton wins, all the Trump supporters who've been violently assaulted, spat on, and physically attacked by the radical left unholster their concealed weapons and start shooting back. He writes that this quickly escalates into open warfare between lunatic leftist Hillary supporters and armed Trump Second Amendment people. He writes, people who basically figure they've got nothing left to lose anyway, so why not fight and save America? He continues that you've got 44% of U.S. households that now own guns. And not just one gun, but several different types of guns. He continues that people bought all these guns for a reason, and they sure didn't buy them just to turn them over to a corrupt criminal government. And a pretty astute assessment from Mike Adams there. You know, he's been a guest on this program a number of times. And I have to agree with him that, you know, no matter what happens, there is going to be an uprising of some sort, because the Black Lives Matter movement, the radical leftists are on the rise. They don't even care that a black person's in the White House. They don't care how many black people that Obama has surrounded himself in the administration at the highest levels of government. It makes no difference. They're going to continue to be primed by the press, primed by the Democrats who want this unrest. It's already been revealed that Loretta Lynch is working with Black Lives Matter through, you know, covert messages, that they're working to basically set up martial law so that they can hold over President Obama. Now, is it actually going to happen? That remains to be seen, but nonetheless, Mike Adams, great assessment there.
It's not a matter of if, but when for us. And today, thousands of first responders held a massive drill to make sure that they know what to do when that big one strikes.
9.0 magnitude earthquake and tsunami hits. In fact, the Oregon Office of Emergency Management says it'll affect more than 15 million people in our area. 5,000 of them will die, and more than 1 million of them will be in need of food, an issue Governor Kate Brown addressed this morning.
And their homes should be stocked with food, water, and critical items to help them sustain extended periods of time without electricity or plumbing.
Total chaos that can happen at any moment.
Why are they doing this? Why do they keep issuing these warnings about imminent climate threats? We've also seen companies in Canada and the US who are now pouring millions of dollars into disaster response, including AT&T, who will invest $600 million so that customers can maintain communication during a disaster. Additionally, there are several other states located in the center of the U.S. that will carry out major disaster response exercises, including Tennessee. According to the article you see on the screen, Tennessee will carry out one of the largest exercises in the history of the state. Is it just me, or does it seem like there's a lot of preparation for a climate cataclysm that is coming, whatever it might be, whether it's Cascadia or a hurricane or something else? Is something going to come this summer, before the election?